Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Eden's Realm. So, I was doing a little bit of AFKing, and as you can see, my game's a little bit laggy, which is not good. Actually, it's a little bit more than a little bit laggy. I don't exactly know why. I'm hoping that there's a reason to this, and that it'll be fixed, but if running this farm makes my world laggy, that is not good. But what we can do, come down here. This is, yep, full of copper blocks. I need to leave something behind. Guess I'll leave the pack dice. Or actually, that can stack. Goodness gracious. What is happening? So yeah, a lot of Nautilus shells, a lot of tridents. Cool, cool. Not worried about taking any of that home, though. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's just the entities or what, but who knows? Okay, well, that was an interesting start to an episode. We finished that farm the last episode, which is really good. I'm happy with it. It's oh, I think I found the reason for the lag. It might have something to do with these guys. uh, oh my goodness. Okay. Hey, stop. I guess I'm gonna take a moment and clear up these guys, and then we'll assess how we can actually fix the problem. Okay, so... I think I know what it is. I think it's the fact that the chickens can walk underneath this, and then they fall down. I think that's the case. So... yeah, that must be the case. Unless they're, like, walking out here. I don't think that's the case, though, but actually, I can block that up. Okay, so we'll take this. I don't need the smoker. And I think what we're gonna do is we can actually just, like... I wonder if we do what we did over there with the fire over here. I think that's our best bet. And I don't know if I have any netherrack. Okay, so I don't think I have fire tick on in this world. I'll be honest, I don't remember. Hopefully I don't. If I do, it shouldn't be too bad to recover from. We'll watch for a moment. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Okay. So hopefully that will fix our problem of these chicken jockeys. Where did... goodness. I lost it already. Okay, there it is. There's one there. And I think this edge is good, yeah. Although I probably should... I'm gonna place some along, like, here. Just in case. I'm a little bit concerned about it, because if that lags out my world as much as it did then, that is really not good. Well, they can't get up here. How... I don't know what was going on. Maybe they were all coming out of the side. Maybe that's the... I mean, I was AFK for a long time. Who knows? Okay. That's a problem for another day. Let's get back to the island. Okay, so finally got back here and was able to drop everything off. You don't have anything I want. And so I was able to put everything away, got everything cleaned up. I've done a little bit of work here. I don't remember what I've shown you guys since last episode. And I was also farming a bunch of bamboo. I need to clean that up here in a minute. But we have our copper now. This may not look like a lot, but I mean, a shulker box of copper blocks is quite a bit, right? So, what are we going to use this for? Well, primarily for decorating, obviously. I have some plans for it for here, but there's an issue. This copper block right here is going to change, right? Because it's not waxed. And currently, I don't have any wax or any form of getting wax. So we need to do something to get ourselves some honey. That's going to be first on the priorities once I finish getting cleaned up around here. Looking at you, bamboo. But I am going to go ahead. I'm going to set a little bit of this out, and I want to see just how long it takes to oxidize. Because I remember in my world, whenever I actually did it, what I would do is I'd set it out in lines, and then I'd leave for 2 or 3 hours and then come back, and by that time it was completely oxidized. But I'm just gonna lay out, what is this, 9 stacks, and we'll see how long it actually takes to get oxidized. And I suppose I should actually come and pick up the bees. So I've already gotten 2 double chests worth of all of these bees right here. So that's, what is that, 54 of the different bees nests. But I want to make sure that they're all grown up. As you can see, the mod I'm using allows me to see if some of them are babies. And I want to make sure that every single bee is grown up before they end up in the farm. And I don't, just because I don't want to have any issues with small bees escaping or anything of that sort. So what I'm actually going to have to do is we'll take these back to the island, and I'm going to set them out, and we'll just let them all grow up. So it won't be very pretty, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but I just got to set these out in the open. And while that's going on, we can actually go ahead and start designing the farm. So an interesting thing came up in the most recent snapshot from me. There was a change that allowed all of the chunks that are loaded, not just the 8 around a player, to be random ticked. So all of the areas that I would have in this world that are chunk loaded either by ender pearls or by a normal portal chunk loader would actually allow random ticking to happen. Now, that may not inherently be a bad thing, but I think that sort of a change is something that it seems small to begin with, but that's actually a really big change. One of the first and foremost things that I think we will see cause an effect is that there's only going to be 3 random ticks in the entire world per tick. And so I think what we might see is that there's actually a massive decrease in the amount of crops and trees and other things automatically growing, like amethyst crystals, if that was the case. So amethyst crystals only grow on random ticks, and if you have a small simulation distance around your one amethyst geode, you can kind of artificially increase the number of amethysts that are growing because there's a smaller area for the random ticks to choose. But if the entire world is getting random ticked, so if your other 5 farms that are loading at the same time are also getting random ticked, that might cause a large decrease in the amount of random ticks that are happening at the area that you want. I don't know if there is a good way to address that. I don't know if there's a way to go about fixing that problem, but I don't see a world in which that doesn't end up causing some issues later on down the line. I think there might be a case where you could, it might be possible to change the number of ticks that happen, the number of random ticks that happen, dependent upon the number of chunks that are loaded. That way, if you're playing on a low simulation distance, you get only a few chunks loaded or a few random ticks, and then if you're playing on a large simulation distance and you have a lot of areas loaded artificially in your world, that you would get a lot of random ticks. I think that would be one way to fix this problem, but I also think that that might cause a little bit of what we'll call gaming the system, because you could then chunk load a perimeter, and due to how perimeters work, that's not going to take up as many, or it will take up less of your random ticks, I'm pretty sure. But it also might be possible to game a sort of system like that if you were, I don't know if it works this way, but I think you can make a perimeter, and because the perimeter doesn't have, like, if your perimeter didn't have a bottom, it wouldn't try to random tick any of the area there. And so you could artificially game the system if you loaded that area. I don't know if that would actually work, but if that was possible, that would be bad. But I don't see a way around this not causing an issue. So I think it's something that it needs to be addressed before that's actually in the game. So I was doing some fact checking regarding all this, and I ended up coming across an Ilmango video where he went into depth on how random ticks work and what they are doing currently. So I'll have that linked below if you guys want to check that out. But I did come to realize that my idea with the perimeter wouldn't really affect anything, because those chunks could still be accessed by the random ticks. But there were still some other issues that could crop up, particularly if you're portal loading an area. Normally those portals will only spawn zombie pigmen if you are in the area around those portals, but if those ticks are getting random ticked, then they would actually be able to spawn zombie piglins all the time. And so that would, I don't think it would negatively affect the game in a large manner, but it would make a way that you could, like, create a gold farm and you wouldn't have to be there. I don't know completely how that would work. I think this idea needs some more refinement though. But speaking of refinement, I actually have finished the bee farm, so let's go check that out. Alright, so this is what I have for the bee farm. Hopefully these guys are gonna go into their nests here in a second. So it's pretty straightforward. What we have here is all of these dispensers. They'll get powered whenever this redstone level here gets to level 5. I just have it split up. I don't know if this is the orientation that I'm going to use, but we will have glass bottle refilling, and then I'll just come in and put in shears if I need them specifically. But then, because there is mud down here, these hoppers will pick it up, and just a single hopper line all the way around. It doesn't produce enough that there's going to be a backlog or anything. It's not more than 9,000 items per hour, or per minute. Per hour, I think. Yeah, 9,000 items per hour. And so we get honeycomb out here, and then all of the honey bottles go into a crafter where that spits out your glass bottles and your honey blocks. So I am going to go ahead and make a schematic of this. That is not what I wanted. I wanted this. And we will move it on into the world and go ahead and build it up. Shouldn't be that difficult. I don't foresee any issues, but I think I'm just going to build it down in the nether, near where our spawn is. So that was nice and simple. I did a little bit of Jordan stone, um, and I changed up how I was actually doing the filtering or the filtering and crafting. So it's still the same idea, two different separators, so one before and one after the crafter, and then I just have two shulker loaders down here. So we should get honey blocks in this one and the wax in the other one. Now I need to go ahead and start filling these up, and then also I need to put all the bees in. I haven't done that yet, but I wanted to wait to do that on camera in case something goes terribly wrong. But luckily I have a few glass bottles saved over from the witch farm that I used to run, or not the witch farm, the raid farm. So we should be able to use those and get this up and running. And obviously I have enough iron to do it all, but I'm going to do that and then we'll go ahead and place the bees. So I was putting the glass bottles in and realized another problem. The mud is not spawn-proof like I thought it was going to be. I think we might be able to fix this with just a quick lighting change. But hey, come here. Did kill them. Okay, so fact checking. Basically no nether mobs will spawn if the light level is above level 11. So glowstone right next to it should solve our issues. Now I need to go in, put the beehives in. We don't have all the glass bottles in yet. They're still filtering in, and I don't have them all yet. I vastly underestimated how many I was going to need, but I did make sure that everything has, here we go, some shears in them. So for now, it'll just be shears until over time all the glass bottles will filter in, and then that'll be taken care of. So honestly, placing them in wasn't too terrible. They did get in my way some, and when I was getting out of one side, one of the bees got out. I don't know where he is though. I don't see him anywhere. Oh, there he is. So I think he can go back into the hives over here, which hopefully he does eventually. Um, but if not, losing one bee is not the end of the world. I did come to a problem though. I miscounted whenever I was doing my calculations. I was calculating on having 64 of the bees' nests, but I actually only had 54 because I had two shulker boxes. So I'll have to get 10 more sometime, which won't be that big of a deal. That'll just take me a little bit of time over where I have the breeding area. But then I had to redo this because it was powering this system. But now it's all done, and hopefully I can just go AFK for a little bit, let everything work itself out, and we can move on, because I am ready to have some wax. We have the wax and we have the copper, and now it's time to do a little bit of building. Now you may be like, Jordan, please do not start building another building. We already have too many that are unfinished. And you're right. We do have too many that are unfinished. But luckily, we're just going to be finishing one. So the big building over there actually is what I needed the copper for. There's going to be some pieces that have copper on it. And so I needed all of the copper for that. But as you can see over here, this is not finished oxidizing. Now, luckily, we do need the orange copper, but this was an experiment. I expected this to be completely oxidized by now, and it's not even, like, it's barely halfway done, right? So we're going to have to figure out another way of oxidizing copper. We'll take a look into that in the next episode, but that may just be a future project, and it may be something that we need to look into on a large scale because this is not a viable method. But what am I going to be building over here, do you say? Well, we have all the blocks we need, and I already built it. Uh, this is just one of them, but there's going to be like these little window type things. I don't know what to call them, but the idea is that they're going to be spread out all along the face of this, so that we don't just have the blank sandstone and then have the leaves and greenery over it. We want to have something behind it that pops out in front of the greenery, because if it's just like the bland sandstone, the bland cyan terracotta, and the green, it's not going to look very good. But if we add this little bit of red and orange behind it, I think it's going to look really good. And so I've already added 3 of these in. I just need to add them interspersed all along here. And obviously we'll go around to all 4 sides. It'll take me a little bit of time, but it won't be too bad. The one issue that I have is that for a stack of copper bulbs, it takes like 16 blaze rods, and I think I only have like 30 or 40 of them left. So if I'm going to do more of these, I definitely need to get some sort of blaze farm. We'll have to think about that in the future. That might be another project for another episode. I might just do it off camera. We'll have to see. But I've also thought about making these turn on and off intermittently. I think that would be a cool feature. I don't know how we'd go about it, if we'd put like timers on all of them, if we'd put randomizers, but I think that would be a cool feature if we were to do it. And also, I was hoping for this. I think they look really, really cool at night. Particularly once like the entire face is covered in them, they look really, really cool. Even with these 3 now, you get like the little bits of light that are shining, and then you get dark spaces, and it creates cool highlights and contrasts. But I think that's where we're going to have to leave it for today. I am over time, actually, for once, which is nice, and I have a whole lot of stuff to do. I have a lot of stuff to clean up, and we have more projects that we're going to be working on in the future. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.